Hi, welcome back to the channel where you join me and my friend and colleague James Disdale as we set to answer a very simple question, right? So when we sometimes ask readers and viewers what their ideal garage is, there's a car that comes up time and time again as the #1 choice of daily runabout, and that is an Audi Rs6 Avant. Conveniently, it's all new. But James, it's not the only new car here, is it?
It's not, no. We've also got the Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid Sport Turismo and a Mercedes E63 S AMG Estate.
The question is, which is the one car to rule them all? So we're going to start in the Audi Rs6. James, tell me about it.
Well, so this is the latest Rs6. I think it's been around about 9 months now. Now, I mean, Audi, arguably, it's the fastest estate car, isn't it? As our readers have identified with their views on it. It kind of set the template, really. There've been, what, 3 or 4 Rs6s now? And I don't think I'd be wide of the mark if I would say not all of them really lived up to the promise of their specification.
It's funny, isn't it? They're all really fast in a straight line. Good engines, as a rule.
Yeah, I think so.
But not always dynamically the most engaging things, which is why we have 2 of the Rs6's primary rivals with us today to see if this is still the benchmark car, to see if this is the one you should have or not. This one's been around for, like you say, about 9 months. Was it all new 9 months ago? Was it revised?
Well, no, all
it
new.
Was all
new.
Brand, all singing, all dancing, brand spanking.
Absolutely. And I'd argue this one, after lots of attempts, this one actually hits the spot. I mean, it's still not the sharpest, but you can sort of grab it by the scruff of the neck and have a good time. It's kind of dynamically, it's actually quite good, which is partly because it's got 4-wheel steering as standard.
Okay,
standard. You know, all of them get that, so it's kind of, it feels much more agile than you'd think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a big old bus. I mean, we're breathing in now for that van because it's quite wide. Rs6s, they're quick, as we've said. This one's no exception. So it's the 4-litre V8, so essentially it's the same one as we'll see in the Porsche later.
Okay, so it's the same engine as Panamera?
Yeah, but without the hybrid drive. It has got a 48-volt mild hybrid system, I think.
Okay.
It is the weakling of the group, so it's only got 591 brake horsepower.
Is the Porsche's engine 591 plus hybrid, or is the Porsche's engine detuned a bit from this?
It is, I believe, detuned a bit from this.
Okay.
Because it all adds up to 690, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
It also means it's the slowest, so it's only 3.6 to 60. So I know.
Oh, well, I mean that E63 we've got 535.
Yeah.
So well, there you go.
Just think what you could do.
Job done.
What could you do with that extra 1/10 of a second?
Well, if I save a 1/10 every time I accelerate away from the lights, and if I do that 5 times on the way to work, 5 times on the way, second every day, 5 days a week, for 50 weeks of the year, so that's 5 seconds a week. So that's 5 seconds a week, which is 5 25s, 50, 150 seconds a year.
Yeah.
2 minutes a year. Get a bit, 2 and a bit minutes a year.
Mercedes saves you 2 minutes a year.
I could do several things twice in that time.
Drink a cup of tea, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's not a lot, is it?
No. It's probably the most easygoing as well. So they all come on air springs. So all of our cars here are air springs. You can get a dynamic pack with this, which ditches the air springs and goes for a slightly lower, stiffer setup. But we're in comfort now, and it's quite wafty, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know whether you'd want. It depends where you live, does it? Do you think whether you'd want a stiffer setup than this?
I don't think it's not that sort of car, is it? It's a practical, very fast estate car, and we can put it in dynamic if we want, which is quite fiddly.
Is there too much on the touchscreen?
There is. I don't know about you, but there's a lot going on here.
I used to like Audi's rotary MMI thing. It was better.
And so that gives us a bit of a stiffer ride, a bit more heft to the steering. Yeah, exactly. And we've got a sports exhaust, so it sounds quite fruity. We won't do it here because there are lots of
neighbours. Yeah.
This is 565 litres, I think, in the boot. So it's somewhere like 100 litres less than the...
Sorry, shall I put that back in comfort?
Yes, you can put it back in comfort. It's quite jarring, isn't it?
It is, but it is pretty firm, isn't it? It is pretty firm. I think... It's all right, leave it with me, I'll get there. Drive select.
Yeah.
Comfort. There we go. It's just...
Nice.
No, that's much better. Yeah, and you can have an individual RS mode, can't you? So you can select.
I can just press an RS mode button here.
Which is probably what you'd do, isn't it? You'd pick 2 and leave it with them. How's the steering, mate? Because I often find with Audis,
Yeah.
sometimes a little bit light, sometimes a little bit non-feedback, and in say the Taycan Porsche and the Audi RS e-tron GT
Yes.
Malarkey, you know, same car, same platform underneath, but they've given them a different dynamic character. The Audi has that lighter, sort of
Yeah.
more remote steering. What's this like?
This is the same. It's very fast, partly due to that rear steer, but it's not very informative. It's a tool basically.
Yeah.
It changes the direction of the car. If you want to go very quickly and not think about it too much.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now that's funny, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. If you want to go fast, if you want to make progress, but not think about where you're going too much,
Yeah.
does that define the fast Audi in general?
It does. It does. It's just it does it. I think it does it much better now because it's got quite a lot of composure. You know, it breathes with the surface now. It's not pummeling it into submission.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's nice to drive quickly, but it's not engaging. You're not really having fun. You're just thinking about picking apart the road as quickly as you can. I mean, the Quattro drivetrain will do clever stuff that can send 85% of the torque to the back axle.
Okay.
So you can get a sort of rear-endy feel to it, but it's that kind of out of a first gear hairpin. It might feel like the rear wants to come around. The rest of the time, it's very much an Audi. It's point, get on the throttle and go, and it's bloody effective then. It's really easy to live with. You can see why it is the car to go for those high net worth individuals who've got barns full of exotic stuff that they can pull out on high days and holidays.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, oh, sorry, didn't see that.
22's a standard, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
They've got their barn full of, exotic stuff for high days and holidays, and the rest of the time they just want to get from A to B, but they want something quick,
Yeah.
beautifully built, relatively subtle. I mean, people who know what it is know what an RS6 is, but the rest of the time it's just another. Given that all Audis are quite aggressive now,
Yeah.
it's just another quite
people
aggressive
just think
Audi.
It's yet another in an Audi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh look, it's 4 inches from my
4 inches.
my
from
boot lid.
bumper. Yeah. What a surprise. Yeah. So we're going to jump in the Mercedes and then the Porsche and see if this is still the definitive go-to big fast estate car. While we get out of one and into the other, why don't you click subscribe and then you'll never miss one of our videos. We've got nonsense like this, we've got some drag races, we've got other reviews, single car reviews, twin tests, news, motor shows. We're sitting next to each other now, so who knows, we might be able to go to a motor show soon. And all that good stuff, you'll never miss one, and we'd really, really very much appreciate it. Anyway, so that's the RS6, mate. This then is the Mercedes-AMG E63 S
Yes.
Estate.
Yes.
Used to be Mercedes-Benz E63 AMG, didn't it? But not anymore. It was facelift last summer or thereabouts.
Yes.
And it got a new look grille, a little bit more aero swishness.
Yes. Panamera. Is it Panamericana grille?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. And got a little interior makeover, so it's got a new steering wheel with the sort of not exactly haptic feedback. They're that kind of shiny plastic buttons, and there's more on the touchscreen than there used to be. Do you know what I mean? It's now more reach all the way over there. Still got 4-litre V8.
Yes. Hot in the V.
Hot V turbos.
Yeah.
And that's 603 brake horsepower in the S form. And because the UK market doesn't like slow crap cars, we don't get the non-S version, which has only got 5 something.
Well, I mean,
You don't get out of bed for that, do you?
exactly. Not at all. 603 or nothing, I say.
Yeah, exactly. When we road tested this car the first time, which would have been, I don't know, 16, 17?
2017, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. The road test department reckoned that perhaps the low-speed ride was a bit firm. So they made a few changes, slightly. I did talk to them about this last year. They did make some changes to the suspension, not loads, but it has eased the low-speed ride
We're in comfort now, aren't we?
a bit.
Oh no, we're not in comfort. We're in sport.
Well, at the moment, yes, my dampers are in sport. This is the sort of car, isn't it? Now I'm in comfort. Now the dampers are back in comfort with moderate engine.
But now you can feel it. It's much more compliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually, to be fair.
Nice.
There is quite a thing. Do you think there is too much going on in an AMG in terms of dynamic things to control?
Yes. Not only is there too many choices,
Yeah.
they're repeated everywhere, so you can do it on your steering wheel there, can't you? You've got two
Yeah.
rotary dials.
And I can even change what some of them do. So this, at the moment, the bottom one's down to do the exhaust,
Yeah.
to make it angrier. But but I don't have to make it. I can put it in something else. I can make that button do something else.
Yeah, and then you can do it all again on this centre console.
Yeah.
So you've got your gearbox, your dampers, ESP modes.
And
So-
I can do it up there.
Yeah, it's by the time you've worked out. I mean, yes, you can hotkey it, can't you? I guess there's a hotkey.
You can,
yeah, with shortcut key.
Well,
Brilliant.
you can go to an individual mode for your
Yeah.
preferred mode, and I think you probably would. I reckon you drive it in comfort or your own mode,
Yeah.
and that's unless you went on track, in which case you'd set it up. Because by the time you've tried to set it up for a road you're approaching, it's too late. You're on that road. Do you know what I mean? You're halfway down that road.
Yeah.
I would rather it gave me fewer options, and the engineers spent a bit more time just going, yeah, we like this one. That's the best mode for you. That's all right. Notwithstanding the fact that, of course, in Germany the roads are a bit different to over here, and therefore if you set it up for German roads only, it may be too stiff for
Yeah.
UK roads, which is perhaps our problem with it
That's true.
last time around. But I don't know. Ride and handling engineers are better than me at deciding what's best,
That's true.
because that's what they do for a living.
I'd stick in comfort. I think.
Yeah.
I think you have to be driving quite enthusiastically
Yeah.
before any lack of body control becomes apparent.
Yeah.
And it's doing. I mean, these are bumpy but reasonably surface roads, and it's not bad, is it?
No, it's fine. It's fine. And I'm picking holes slightly because I like this car a lot.
I
It's
do.
big, but it's big with a purpose. It's got the biggest boot
It has.
here. 9-speed gearbox. Oh, it does sound pretty good, doesn't it?
It does. It goes quite well as well.
It does. Yeah. Did it used to be louder than this?
It did. Yeah. I think the GPF, the petrol particulate filter,
Yeah.
has robbed it of
It's
some
robbed
noise.
it a bit.
Which I'm sure your neighbours will be.
Yeah, they're
Grateful
probably quite pleased about, weren't they, really?
It's not an unpleasant sound, though.
No, I like it. And actually, it kind of suits the super saloon that it's,
A bit more
booting
secure.
away up the front. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so how do I get, if I want that to control the gearbox, now it's AMG dynamics, now it's ESC off, now it's doing the dampers, now it's doing the drive mode. So now I press that, now I've got manual control of said gears. But there's not an obvious, but it's just stuck down in the bottom of the dash, M3,
Yeah.
telling me I should have fourth.
That is a kind of, given its performance brief, and I don't know about you, I quite like driving it in manual mode because the
Yeah,
pedals
yeah,
are quite
yeah.
nice and
Yep.
the engine likes to be exploited that way.
Yeah,
I'd like a more clear indication of what gear I'm in
yeah, I would.
because there's so many of them.
There's none of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And left to its own devices, it doesn't always choose the right one.
No.
So it's better to do.
No, I mean,
But-
sorry, I was going to say there is an argument that it's got so much torque that it sort of doesn't matter which gear it's
Yeah,
in
that's true.
sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we're at 50 miles an hour. Will it take ninth? It won't even take ninth. That's from like 1200 revs. It's got quite a lot of torque.
Yeah.
That's 50 to 60. I know if you timed it, you'd say that's quite a long time.
Yeah.
But there's a decent urge to move along. But all of that notwithstanding, I like how comfortable it is. I like the character out the engine. I like the dynamic handling balance. It's four-wheel drive, but it's predominantly rear drive, and it pushes
Yeah.
a bit to the front when it thinks you need it, unless you put it in rear drive only mode,
Oh yeah, drift mode.
which we will not do on the road for drifting purposes, because if you film yourself drifting on the road, I don't think it's very clever. By and large, this is a really engaging, entertaining,
It is.
duality of purpose sorted car. In that
It
it's
is.
quite comfortable most of the time, and it's really angry and shouty, and
And it's big. It's,
we don't want it to be.
It's an estate car, and it's big. Estate cars should be big, and it's
Yeah.
got. I mean, it's not just the biggest boot. It's like 100 litres bigger than the other two.
Yeah.
It's a proper big boot.
It's a proper big estate. Yeah,
Lots of space for people and stuff.
yeah.
I mean, it is. Oh, am I going to use that phrase?
Go on.
It's all the car you could ever need.
You are going to use that phrase.
I have.
You
I've
just
used
have.
it.
Yeah. However, is it more than all the car you would get from the Porsche Panamera, whose full name you will describe in a moment?
Yes.
Let's go into that and find out. Right, so that was the E63, and this is the Porsche Panamera Turbo S E hybrid, just hybrid, Turbo S hybrid,
A Turbo SE.
Turbo
hybrid.
SE hybrid. E because it's not a
And Sport Turismo.
Sport Turismo. Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo Turbo SE hybrid,
Yes.
and it's not just a hybrid, it's an e-hybrid because it's pluggable rather than mild.
Yes. So
or full or series or whatever.
That's
it's pluggable. What is the electric range of this car?
37 miles, I think.
About that?
Yeah.
30 something. Do you reckon you'd get that?
No.
No.
I reckon probably 30 at a push.
And if you have extinguished the electric range,
Yes.
you've plugged it in overnight and you've done your 30 miles on the way to work,
Yep.
what do you get then?
Then you get a 4-litre twin turbo, which is, very environmentally sound.
Yeah, of course.
And that is effectively the same one that's in the RS6,
Okay.
but it's got a little less horsepower. So the electric motor is 134 horsepower. The total system output is 690 horsepower. So the petrol motor is the difference between the two.
It's different between two. Or like, possibly not the exact difference between two. Because
It is in this case.
Oh,
yeah.
is it?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
That's
yes.
interesting. Now, the reason that they're not always exactly the same, it's not always as simple as adding them together, is because the peak power of the motor and the peak power of the engine don't always necessarily arrive at the same time.
No.
Well, the Merc, I know, weighed just under 2 tons.
Yes.
Because it is ICE only.
Yeah.
ICE only. And the RS4, similar-ish?
About 1900 and a bit.
Do you know what this is?
This is 2.1 and a bit tons, I think.
Okay.
So
that's
it's
a bit more.
not light.
No. But if you were going to trust anybody to make a 2.x ton car ride and handle, which companies would you trust most to do them?
I think Porsche
Yeah.
and maybe Porsche.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I was listening to a podcast the other day that had a ride and handling an independent ride and handling engineer on, and he said that he thought Porsche went to the lengths that probably nobody else quite does to do that sort of thing. I think you're right. I think they make a car that handles and rides and is also tremendously performancely enhancing. And it suits everybody. It's easy to drive, and yet it's also rewarding to drive when you get up it.
This has that 50-yard thing that we talked about earlier, maybe not on camera, about you get in it and immediately the steering rate response and the weight just feels spot on.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to get in those first yards. You know that if you then go much faster, everything's going to be proportionally the same as the speed rises.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're getting. It's probably dynamically, in terms of the chassis, it's probably the best here in the bandwidth of what it can do. So we're in electric comfort now. It's not as smooth as the Audi, I don't think. It's kind of picking up.
In terms of ride comfort?
Yeah, it's
Flatness.
just a bit pattery and
Yeah, I would go with that.
but it's not bad. I mean, I drove it down here on the motorway and the road roar is diabolical.
It is a loud car, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not the most relaxing in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But when you then put it in Sport Plus and the 4-litre V8 comes in and then you go for
Yeah.
it's quite quick.
It's
And
eye-wideningly fast.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's a big old bus. I
Yeah.
mean, they say it'll do 0 to 60 in 1.2 seconds, which given how heavy it is nuts, but you just flick it through a corner like that. So it's got rear wheel steer, like the Audi. The way it controls its mass is, frankly, ludicrous.
Does it have active anti-roll bars?
I believe this one has, yeah, this one's got the...
So David Book was saying that when you get an SUV, because the centre of gravity is quite high, you want to contain the roll, so you put quite big anti-roll bars on it. But by the time you've done that, you end up with effectively suspension that's no longer independent, and of course you get a different. The inputs are not the same both sides, so you end up with unindependent suspension. So you end up with a ride that's really stiff. The nice thing about EVs is that because the centre of gravity is so low, even though they're heavy, and the centre of gravity in this would be quite low, you would think. So even though it's heavy, you don't necessarily have to have massive anti-roll bars, because actually they won't have that much roll tendency anyway, because the CFG is so low. And he thinks EV manufacturers are still catching up with that idea.
Okay.
So the Taycan rides better than this, even though it's a heavier car than this, solely on the basis that because its centre of gravity is so much lower, the anti-roll bars will be less stiff than this.
Okay, yeah,
Which
that
I
makes
think,
sense.
which makes, so the Taycan is a nicer riding car than this, I think. Don't you?
This is too, I wouldn't say it's too stiff,
No.
but given it's a luxury high performance estate car, it's got quite a few flaws is the wrong word, quirks that perhaps you wouldn't expect for a car that has to mosey as much as it has to be driven like a lunatic.
And I wonder if it is a product of where it's developed as well, with German roads being better than British roads, particularly.
Yeah.
Better than quite a lot of the world's roads, actually. So if you're thinking about buying a Panamera, do bear in mind it works best on smoother roads. So if you live somewhere with terrible twisty roads, it might not be as supple and engaging as. Well, I don't know. They're all German, aren't they? That's the thing.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the Audi
surface.
felt a little bit softer.
The Audi definitely feels the most supple.
Yeah.
Mercedes is somewhere in the middle. This one, I say, none of them are uncomfortable.
No, we're sort of splitting hairs, aren't we? Really,
Yeah.
to be fair, they're all really. But then, yeah, you know, that is, for better or worse, what we get paid for.
Yeah.
We don't get paid very much for it.
No.
That helps. But yeah, that's part of the gig, isn't it? And I don't like that part of the gig because I like the engineers who make these cars, and I like all of these cars.
Yeah.
But you know,
I couldn't
ultimately
do it.
You've got to. No, I can't do it. I can't do. Well, you know what they say, mate. If you
Damn,
can,
that's my career over.
Yeah, if you can't, write about it.
It's a strange fish, this car, really. It's like it can't quite decide what it wants to be. Sports car, hybrid, estate car, but it's not.
It's not quite as big as the others. Isn't it?
No.
I mean, it's big in the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't know. The big's what, 5? Was this 5?
500 litres.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not.
That's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's.
How often do you see an estate car packed as tightly as it will go? Not that, you know, taking the kids to uni. That's about it, isn't it? That's the only
Pretty
time you
much.
see one of these
Yeah.
with full
Yeah.
to the rafters.
And I'm not sure if you own a Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid Sport Turismo, you're going to be going camping, are you? You can probably afford a nice hotel.
Well, I don't know. People, they put the roof box on, don't they? They go down to ski and stuff
suppose
like
so.
that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I take your point. I think if you were after the ultimate space vehicle, you know, maybe none of these is.
I suspect Porsche have problems with the Cayenne because the sort of people that might buy this.
Would buy a Cayenne instead.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder. I mean, I'd rather have one of these because it's lower and therefore A, better handling, and B,
Yeah.
more efficient.
And it does. It drives really nicely. As I say,
Yeah.
it's probably the sharpest, the neatest when you're really going at it, as the kids might not say.
So, all right, and so you're writing this testing magazine, which is available in all good news agents every Wednesday, and there is a digital online edition. You can find it at autocar.co.uk, and it is supplemented with other things, such as the podcast that we do now and again, such as this video channel, which you can like, and if you subscribe to it, very grateful, and all of the other activities and all the other initiatives and things that Autocar has been doing since 1895. And that full archive will be available digitally very soon as well at themotoringarchive.com. Okay, so let's knuckle down to the final point of it. This is the nicest car of the three to drive in a sporty manner.
It's the most. Oh, that's a tough question. It's the most accomplished.
Does that make it, James Tisdale,
Hello.
your choice?
This test is about fast estate cars.
Mm-hmm.
The Mercedes is the best estate car.
Mm-hmm.
It's also very fast.
Yes.
It's not as accomplished technically as this,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's the way. It's more engaging. You have to work a bit harder at it, don't you?
Mm.
Because it's not as low. Audi I really like. The Audi's the everyday one. Like I say, if you've got a garage full of lots of other stuff and you just want to get about really quickly and semi-discreetly, you go for the Audi. This, I think, because it's a hybrid, maybe you have to strip the hybrid part out, but it is a hybrid, and I think that will appeal to some people. And if you do commute into your office,
I get that. If you want one of these cars, and for the most part of the year you don't want to burn any fuel when you're doing your normal daily commute.
yeah, it
Yeah,
costs.
there you go. You have one of these. There's no.
List price is what, 40 grand more than the other two, but if you're putting it on your fleet,
Yeah.
that will pay dividends. But I can't help feeling they do a non-hybrid one that you probably feel like you might want instead, wouldn't you?
Than this,
Yeah.
because it's lighter and therefore
Yeah.
probably nicer to drive.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Oh, crikey, that's going to change the nuance of the verdict I was
Yeah.
looking for. Because yes, maybe that would be nicer to drive, and therefore that would swing this test
Yeah.
in its favour. However, I'm sort of detecting that in a 2 or 3 word answer, which one would you have?
I think it's the Mercedes. This is like I say, this is a test about really quick, entertaining, fast estate cars, and its compromise of all those ingredients is the best.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree. I think the E-Class is a great estate car anyway. The E-Class wagon is a really good big estate car, and if you want a fast one, the E63 is the way to do it. I'll take your point. If you want to plug it in and you want to mooch around without burning fuel for quite a lot of the time, you'd buy this. But I'm with you. I think the best fast estate you can buy is a Mercedes-AMG E63 S.
Is that a verdict?
That's a verdict.
Come on.
We are in agreement.
Yeah.
If you're not in agreement, or even if you are, drop a comment below and tell us we don't know what we're talking about. I think we do. I think that's good. I think the E63 is a good car. I think it's a really good car.
Yeah.
They're all good cars. I like them all. The answer, as ever, is buy the one you want, because that's the one you'll want, really. They're all really capable. They're all really sophisticated. They're all really good. But I think in terms of the sort of blend of estatiness plus engagement,
Mercedes.
E-Class is the way to go.
Yeah.
So yes, there we are. We have a verdict. Brilliant. If you disagree, or even if you do agree, drop a comment down below. We'll see you there. And we'll see you here next time on the Autocar YouTube, or join us on our other channels. Thanks very much for watching. Till then.